Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 anime speculation slash theory video. My previous speculation video on Ash Catching Gengar proved to be quite successful, so I decided to think of other topics I could speculate on regarding the Pokemon 2019 anime series. I remember that there were leaks suggesting that Ash will catch Grookey, the grass-type starter of Generation 8, in the future. So I thought, why not talk about the possibility of Ash catching not only Grookey, but also Sobble, the water type starter of Generation 8. Like with my Gengar video, I will only take into account facts from the anime itself, no leaks or rumors, just canonical information taken from the anime itself. Also, keep in mind that this is speculation in the end. None of it is guaranteed, nor am I saying it will 100% become reality. So, let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to say is what my answer is to the very question I am tackling in this video. Will Ash catch Grookey? Will Ash catch Sobble? My answer is yes to both of those questions. I think that Ash will capture Grookey and Sobble in the future. There are three absolute rules, if you will, that make me certain that this will be the case. Three rules that the anime has followed since its inception over 20 years ago. Rule number one is that Ash will always capture at least one starter Pokemon per generation or series. Rule number two is that all three starters must be owned by a member of the main cast, meaning Ash and his traveling companions, in the given generation or series, without overlap, meaning no duplicates. This is probably because, like with the legendary Pokemons on the box art of the games, the starters are the face of the generation in question. Being owned by Ash or one of his traveling companions ensures that the starters will appear in almost every episode after their introduction. Rule number three works with the other two, and it's that Ash is the only member of the main cast that can own more than one starter of that generation or series. Call it protagonist privilege. So now that I have shared with you the rules, I want to go over each series so that I can illustrate the rules better. In Kanto, the original series, Ash caught all three of the starter Pokemons. First he caught Bulbasaur, then Charmander, and finally Squirtle, the Pokedex order. Charmander was the only one to evolve, eventually becoming Ash's well-known and beloved Charizard. Charizard is also Ash's first starter to reach its final form. Next, in Johto, Ash once again caught all three starter Pokemon, and he once again followed the Pokedex order, since he caught Chikorita first, then Cyndaquil, and finally Totodile. Chikorita was the only one to evolve during the Johto saga. She evolved once into Bayleaf, becoming Ash's first Grass-type starter to evolve. Cyndaquil will later evolve into Quilava near the end of the Sinnoh saga. Hoenn was the first series where Ash did not catch all three starters, instead he only caught Trico. May got Torchic as her starter Pokemon from Professor Birch, and Brock caught a Mudkip. So while Ash did not catch all three starters, this generation still follows the three rules. Ash's Trico evolved twice, reaching its final form Sceptile, becoming Ash's first fully evolved Grass-type starter. May's Torchic also evolved twice, reaching its final form Blaziken, and Brock's Mudkip evolved once. In Sinnoh, Ash caught Tortwig, and Dawn got Piplup from Professor Rowan. Ash also caught Chimchar after Paul released it, so this is the first series where Ash only catches two starters. Both Tortwig and Chimchar reach their final forms, while Piplup remains unevolved. In Unova, Ash once again caught all three starters, marking the first time he's done so since Johto. This was also the last time he caught all three starters. Unlike with Kanto and Johto, Ash caught them in reverse Pokedex order, since he got Oshawott first from Professor Uniper, then he caught Tepig, and he caught Snivy last. Only Tepig evolved this generation into Pignite. In Kalos, Ash once again caught one starter, like he did in Hoenn. He caught Froakie. Serena got Fennekin from Professor Sycamore, and Clement caught Chespin. Froakie evolved twice, reaching its final form Greninja, becoming Ash's first fully evolved Water-type starter, and the only one of Ash's Water-type starter to evolve. Greninja is also Ash's first Water-type to evolve under his ownership since Krabby, and his only Water-type Pokemon to evolve twice. Serena's Fennekin evolved once into Braixen, while Chespin remained unevolved. In Alola, Ash caught Rowlet, and later he caught Litten. Lana caught Poplio. Both Litten and Poplio evolved twice, reaching their final forms Incineroar and Primarina respectively. Rowlet remained unevolved. Then we get to the current series, Pokemon 2019. Ash has not caught a Galar starter yet, but because of rule number 1, I am certain that he will catch one eventually. Now Go already owns Scorbunny, who evolved into Raboot recently, which is okay under rule number 2. This means that Ash can't get a Scorbunny as per rule number 2 once again. Also because of rule number 2, both Grookey and Sobble must be owned by a member of the main cast eventually. But Go can't catch another starter because of rule number 3, so it falls upon Ash to catch both of them, which would satisfy all three rules. The main cast of this series is just Ash and Go currently. This is the smallest main cast ever in any series. Ash had at least two traveling companions in every series before this one. This means that the three starters must be split between the two of them while following the three rules. The current opening for Pokemon 2019 did make me believe initially that Koharu would also be part of the main cast, but this has not been the case so far. Koharu has not troubled with Ash and Go anywhere, and there have also been several episodes where she doesn't appear at all. If she was part of the main cast, then she could catch one of the remaining two starters while Ash catches the other. In episode 11, Koharu did grow as a character. She was uncertain of what her goals are for the future. She was annoyed that her classmates expected her to follow her father's footsteps and become a Pokemon professor, and that they believed she was a good battler. In reality, she was not really that fond of Pokemon. She had Yamper, but she never seemed to treat Yamper as one of her Pokemon. She was just aloof all the time. At the end of the episode, Koharu commands Yamper in battle. They chase Gengar away. Koharu was hesitant at first, but she gathered her courage and she was able to successfully command Yamper. Afterwards, Koharu seemed to be a little nicer to Yamper. I feel that this episode might hint at Koharu becoming a trainer in the future, which means she might join Ash and Go in traveling. She could then catch one of the starters. But that's speculation, of course. If Koharu remains a supporting character, then Ash will catch both Sobble and Grookey. Finally, I want to share with you this chart that depicts Ash's starters. This chart shows how many of each type he has and how many have evolved. This allows me to make a few more educated guesses. So, from this chart, we can see that Grass is the starter type that Ash has owned the most at 6. Kalos was the only generation where he did not catch the Grass starter, of course excluding the current generation. Fire is the second most common at 5, and Water is the starter type he owns the least of at just 4. From this, I can infer that it's more likely for him to catch Grookey given the grass type inclination, but at the same time, Sobble would balance the numbers out, giving Ash another water type starter and his first since Greninja. This is of course assuming he only catches one of the two, but like I stated before, I believe he will catch both. Next we get to the evolutions. Grass and Water are tied with the most unevolved starter Pokemon at 3 each. Half of Ash's Grass-type starters remain unevolved, and all of his Water-type starters remain unevolved except for Greninja, of course. This means that the odds that Grookey and Sobble evolve under Ash's ownership are low, though he always has at least one starter Pokemon that evolves at least once per series, so it's more likely that one of the two, either Grookey or Sobble, will remain unevolved while the other evolves at least once. Note that every single one of Ash's Fire-type starters has evolved at least once, with 3 of them reaching their final form. So, if Ash had caught Scorbunny, then it would have most likely evolved under his ownership. Of the remaining 3 Grass-type starters that did evolve, one, Chikorita, evolved once, and the other 2, Trico and Turtwig, evolved twice. And for Water, Greninja is again the only one that evolved at all. So going back to whether Grookey and Sobble will evolve, the odds are Grookey will evolve at least once while Sobble remains unevolved. It's worth noting that Johto and Unova are the only 2 series where Ash did not have a fully evolved starter by the end. Keep in mind that he caught the whole trio in both Johto and Unova. This means it's possible that Ash ends up without a fully evolved starter in this new series. However, if we look at the series where he only caught 2 starters, Sinnoh and Alola, he did end up with at least one fully evolved starter. Therefore, I conclude that Grookey will reach its final form and Sobble will remain unevolved, though the reverse could also be possible. This would once again balance the numbers out. It seems that the least starters he catches in a given series, the more likely they are to evolve. The two series where he catches just one, Hoenn and Kalos, end with the one starter fully evolved. The two where he catches two starters, Sinnoh and Alola, end with at least one fully evolved starter, while the three series where he catches the whole trio, Kanto, Johto, and Unova, end up with mostly unevolved starters, and only Charizard and Kanto ended up fully evolved. So once again, one of the two, either Sobble or Grookey, is sure to reach its final form, while the other will probably remain unevolved. But considering that Ash caught Dragonite, a fully evolved Pokemon, and that he caught Gengar, another fully evolved Pokemon, it could be that both Grookey and Sobble will reach their final form, especially considering that Ash is aiming to battle Leon, the world champion, so he's going to need some serious firepower. Unevolved Pokemon simply won't cut it. In Sinnoh, he only caught two starters, and they both reached their final forms, meaning that having both Grookey and Sobble reach their final forms is not impossible. I also want to bring up this picture right here, taken from the current ending theme of Pokemon 2019. If you watched my Gengar speculation video, then you're already familiar with this image that seems to predict Ash's captures for the new series. Since he did end up catching Gengar, it's fair to say that this image is on point. Now, neither Sobble nor Grookey show up in this image, which would indicate that Ash won't catch them, but there are some explanations for this. The first is that this image does not predict anything, and everything so far has been a coincidence. But I doubt that there could be so much coincidence, so this one is unlikely. Reason number two is that this is just ending theme number one. Pokemon anime series run for over 100 episodes on average, and so they end up having multiple opening and ending themes. Since this is the first ending thing, it would only hint at things that will happen for its duration. So the first 20 to 30 episodes would be my guess. Grookey and Sobble's captures could happen much later down the line. Hints of this would then appear in the new openings and ending themes we will get later. The last explanation is that they just didn't hint at everything in one soup. There are only 5 circles, which means 5 Pokemon, which means a full party with Pikachu, which would be a good start. Maybe they just wanted to leave some surprises for later. Maybe it would be too much to fit more than 5 Pokemons on screen for that one image. Basically, I just want to say that this image does not mean that Ash won't catch Grookey and Sobble. But that's everything I have for you in this video. Again, this is all speculation based on facts from the anime itself. The 3 rules I shared with you have been followed since the beginning and they have never been broken, so I firmly believe that Ash will catch both Sobble and Grookey, or that he will at least catch one of them if Koharu does join the main cast, so that she can catch the other starter. So Ash gets Grookey and Koharu gets Sobble. As far as evolutions go, it is harder to tell since there is a lot of variation in the pattern, but I was still able to draw some interesting conclusions using the chart that I made, and I believe that they are very much a possibility. Leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.